Hi guys, and welcome back to the Feld Kingdoms YouTube channel. And I'm currently doing a video series on universal reconciliation in between the Feld Kingdoms podcast episodes. And while I'm doing this, I want everyone to understand one thing, and I think it's crucial when engaging in these kinds of dialogues. And it's this: whether you believe that some people won't go to heaven and will suffer eternal conscious torment, whether you believe in conditional immortality, or whether you believe in universal reconciliation, the truth is that we are all biased towards a particular interpretation of certain texts, and there will always be, no matter what position you take, an a priori, at face value examples of places in Scripture where Scripture seems to contradict your view. And I say that because there seems to be this assumption in these kinds of dialogues where one side of the aisle seems to take for granted that their position is wholly explicit in Scripture, and the other positions are wholly absent from. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, I do understand that in terms of universal reconciliation, there are a lot of Christians who take it on faith, and they don't really have or can't really articulate a biblical justification for their doctrine. I understand that. But if we're being intellectually honest here, you have to acknowledge the robust theological tradition that has been passed down from the earliest centuries of the church in terms of universal reconciliation. You have people like Origen, Gregory of Nyssa, Theodore of Mopsuestia. You have all of these guys who espouse the doctrine of apokatastasis, and they are truly respected people in church tradition. You have to acknowledge that. But in any case, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not enough anymore to simply respond to universalist claims of universalism or conditional immortality claims, scriptural claims, with Matthew 25 or with a particular parable where it seems to indicate that people are going to burn in hell forever. Like, it's not enough to do that anymore, because maybe what's happening is that you're actually right, and universalist texts are actually there. So maybe Scripture is probably just presenting two contradictory views. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe. Or you take the position where Scripture is wholly coherent and there's no contradictions, and you have to look to harmonize these particular texts. So maybe with these universalist texts, you just say, well, if you really look at it and you really exegete the text, it doesn't actually prove universalism. You have to do that now. Like, you just can't sit there and respond to universalists with simply appealing to these texts that seem to indicate eternal conscious torment. That's not going to work anymore. You have to deal with the universalist passages. You have to, just as much as universalists have to deal with the texts that seem to indicate eternal conscious torment, or with the texts that seem to indicate conditional immortality. We all have to deal with the other side's arguments. So now this is the time that we actually look at the other person's positions, and we look at the proof text, and we look at the theology that's behind it, and we start refuting each other that way, or we start critiquing each other's positions that way. It's not enough anymore to simply appeal to proof text in response to somebody else's appeal to proof text. So that's all I wanted to say. At the end of the day, whether you believe in universalism, or whether you believe in conditional immortality, or whether you believe in eternal conscious torment, it's not enough anymore to simply appeal to proof text in response to somebody else's claims. You have to deal with those scriptures that those people bring up that those people bring up to affirm their positions. That's all I'm saying. We have to get out of this position where obviously the eternal conscious torment view holds some form of privilege in society and in Christian culture. Obviously it does, but that's not enough anymore. That's not good. That doesn't hold weight anymore. You actually have to deal with the arguments that we are bringing up, and you have to deal with the scriptures that we are bringing forth. It's not enough to just appeal to Matthew 25 or to appeal to some other text. You have to deal with the text itself. So I only say that to say this: I would like us to think, I would like to think that all of us are on a flat playing field, and we all have to deal with the objections. You simply can't respond with, well, Matthew 25 says this. You have to deal with what we're saying. That's all I'm going to say. I hope this entire series is helpful, and maybe you may come out and you may watch all of the videos in the series and you still say, I'm unconvinced. At least when you come out of it, you understand universal reconciliation better, and you understand that universal reconciliation, specifically people who are actually delving deep into the theology, delving deep into scholarship, that we are actually taking this seriously, and we all love Jesus, and we are all saved by Christ, and we really take the Bible seriously. I hope this was helpful. Thank you.